Staff Sergeant Michelle Kim held every marksmanship record at Fort Campbell. For 6 years, she was the standard by which all other soldiers measured their shooting skills. But after firing a single shot during a patrol in Afghanistan, Michelle never touched a rifle again. What happened in those 3 seconds on a dusty road outside Kandahar would haunt her for the rest of her military career. This is the story of how one perfect shot destroyed the career of the Army's most gifted marksman. Michelle Kim grew up in Portland, Oregon, where her father owned a small sporting goods store that specialized in hunting equipment. She learned to shoot at age 12, starting with a .22 rifle on weekend trips to her uncle's property outside the city. By 15, she was competing in junior shooting competitions and consistently placing in the top 3. Her natural ability was extraordinary. Michelle possessed the rare combination of steady nerves, exceptional hand-eye coordination, and the mathematical mind needed to calculate distance, wind, and trajectory instinctively. What took other shooters years to master, Michelle learned in months. Which sniper rifle do you like? Please mention it in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. After graduating high school in 2010, Michelle enlisted in the Army with a guaranteed assignment to infantry training. Her ASVAB scores qualified her for any military specialty, but she was drawn to combat roles where her shooting skills could be utilized to protect other soldiers. Basic training at Fort Benning revealed Michelle's exceptional abilities immediately. During the initial marksmanship assessment, she achieved perfect scores with every weapon system she was tested on. Her drill sergeants had never seen a recruit with such natural precision and composure under pressure. Advanced individual training further confirmed Michelle's gifts. She excelled not just in marksmanship, but in the tactical aspects of combat shooting. Moving targets, low light conditions, elevated positions, Michelle adapted to every scenario with the same calm precision that would become her trademark. Her first assignment was to the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The base was home to some of the Army's most elite units, and Michelle's reputation preceded her arrival. Within weeks, she was being requested for special assignments that required exceptional marksmanship skills. Michelle's shooting scores were so consistently high that her supervisors initially suspected her of cheating or manipulating her results. Multiple investigations found no evidence of impropriety. Michelle simply shot better than anyone else on base, regardless of conditions or equipment. By 2012, Michelle held the base records for accuracy with every weapon system in the Army inventory. Her scores weren't just impressive, they were statistically improbable. She could hit targets at ranges that challenged the mechanical limits of the weapons she was using. Her calm demeanor was as remarkable as her shooting ability. During live-fire exercises, while other soldiers showed visible stress or excitement, Michelle remained completely composed. She approached each shot with the same methodical precision, whether firing at paper targets or simulated enemy positions. Michelle's first deployment came in 2013, when her unit was assigned to provide security for forward operating bases in Afghanistan. The deployment would test her skills in real combat conditions for the first time, and everyone expected her to excel as she had in training. The reality of combat shooting was different from anything Michelle had experienced. The targets moved unpredictably, fired back, and were human beings rather than paper circles. But Michelle adapted quickly, maintaining the same precision and composure that had made her legendary during training. Her first confirmed kill came during a Taliban attack on her base in November 2013. Michelle eliminated 3 enemy fighters at ranges exceeding 400 meters, helping repel an assault that could have overrun defensive positions. Her squad mates were amazed by her accuracy and calmness during the firefight. Word of Michelle's combat performance spread throughout the military community in Afghanistan. She was requested for missions that required precision shooting, often serving as overwatch for special operations units conducting raids or high-value target operations. Michelle completed her first deployment with 14 confirmed kills, all at distances exceeding 300 meters. Her accuracy rate in combat was nearly perfect. She fired 37 shots in anger and hit her intended target 36 times. The single miss occurred when her target moved unexpectedly at the exact moment she fired. Returning to Fort Campbell in 2014, Michelle was celebrated as a hero and promoted to staff sergeant. Her combat record was studied by marksmanship instructors, and she was assigned to train other soldiers preparing for deployment to combat zones. Michelle's training methods were as precise as her shooting. She could identify and correct minute flaws in technique that other instructors missed. Soldiers who trained under Michelle showed dramatic improvement in both accuracy and confidence. Her ability to remain calm under pressure was something she tried to instill in every student. Her second deployment to Afghanistan began in 2016, with Michelle serving as the designated marksman for a reconnaissance unit operating in Kandahar province. The mission involved long-range patrols in areas with heavy Taliban activity, requiring someone with Michelle's skills to provide overwatch and eliminate high-value targets. The deployment started routinely. Michelle's unit conducted dozens of patrols without significant contact, and when firefights did occur, Michelle's precision shooting consistently gave American forces a decisive advantage. Her reputation among Taliban fighters grew to the point where they specifically targeted positions where she might be located. By early 2017, Michelle had added another 18 confirmed kills to her record. Her shooting remained as accurate as ever, and her composure under fire continued to inspire confidence in her fellow soldiers. The mission that changed everything began like countless others. On March 15, 2017, Michelle's squad was conducting a routine patrol through a village suspected of harboring Taliban weapons caches. Intelligence reports suggested the area was clear of civilians, with only enemy fighters remaining in the compounds they were searching. Michelle was positioned on a rooftop providing overwatch while her squad searched buildings below. Her role was to identify potential threats and eliminate any enemy fighters who might try to ambush the patrol. It was a mission type she had completed successfully dozens of times. Through her scope, Michelle observed movement in a doorway approximately 250 meters from her position. The figure appeared to be carrying a weapon and was positioning to fire on her exposed squad members. She followed her standard procedure: controlled breathing, sight alignment, smooth trigger pull. The shot was perfect, striking the target center mass and neutralizing the threat immediately. Michelle had fired similar shots dozens of times during her 2 deployments. This should have been just another successful engagement. The realization hit Michelle like a physical blow. In the space of 3 seconds, she had made a decision based on incomplete information and killed an innocent child. Michelle's squad confirmed the kill and continued their mission, unaware of what had happened from Michelle's overwatch position. She maintained her post and completed the patrol, but something fundamental had broken inside her. The child's face, visible through her scope for just a moment after the shot, would be burned into her memory forever. The incident was investigated and officially ruled a justified shooting. The child had been carrying what appeared to be a weapon in an area designated as hostile. Michelle had followed rules of engagement and made a decision that any reasonable soldier would have made under similar circumstances. She faced no disciplinary action or official criticism. But the official exoneration meant nothing to Michelle. She knew she had killed an innocent child, and no amount of justification could change that reality. The precision that had once been her greatest strength now felt like a curse. Every time she looked through a rifle scope, she saw that child's face. Michelle's performance began to deteriorate almost immediately. During training exercises, her shots became erratic for the first time in her career. The steady hands and calm nerves that had defined her for 6 years were gone, replaced by trembling and anxiety that made accurate shooting impossible. The psychological evaluation revealed what Michelle's supervisors had begun to suspect. She was suffering from a severe form of combat-related PTSD that specifically affected her ability to engage targets. The condition was relatively rare, typically affecting soldiers who had experienced particularly traumatic combat events. Michelle's case was complicated by the fact that her trauma was directly related to her greatest military asset. Unlike soldiers who could be treated and returned to modified duties, Michelle's entire identity and value as a soldier was built around her marksmanship abilities. Losing that capability meant losing everything that had defined her military career. Treatment proved challenging. Traditional PTSD therapies helped Michelle cope with general anxiety and sleep disturbances, but nothing could restore her confidence in making split-second shooting decisions. Every time she attempted to fire a weapon, she would hesitate, second-guessing herself, and seeing the child's face instead of her target. Michelle requested transfer to non-combat duties in late 2017, effectively ending her career as a marksman. Her request was granted with full understanding from her chain of command, but it represented a profound loss for the military. One of the Army's most gifted shooters had been permanently sidelined by a single tragic mistake. The transition to administrative duties was difficult for Michelle. After years of being valued for her extraordinary skills, she found herself performing routine tasks that any soldier could handle. The respect and admiration she had earned through her marksmanship felt hollow when she could no longer perform the activities that had earned it. Michelle's struggle with identity and purpose became the focus of her ongoing therapy. She had to rebuild her sense of self-worth based on qualities other than her shooting ability. The process was slow and often frustrating, as Michelle grieved not just for the child she had killed, but for the loss of her own capabilities and military identity. Support from her fellow soldiers was mixed. Many understood the trauma Michelle had experienced and respected her decision to seek help. Others struggled to understand how someone with her exceptional abilities could be rendered ineffective by a single incident, even a tragic one. Michelle's story became a case study in military psychology programs, illustrating how even the most skilled and resilient soldiers could be affected by combat trauma in unexpected ways. Her experience highlighted the complex relationship between precision, judgment, and moral injury in combat situations. By 2018, Michelle had made significant progress in her recovery, but she remained unable to fire weapons without experiencing severe anxiety. She had accepted that her days as a marksman were over and focused on finding new ways to serve effectively in the military. Her expertise in marksmanship training proved valuable even without her ability to shoot. Michelle became involved in developing new training protocols that emphasized the psychological aspects of combat shooting, helping other soldiers understand the mental preparation needed to make life-and-death decisions under pressure. Michelle's experience also contributed to improved rules of engagement training, with emphasis on target identification procedures designed to prevent similar tragedies. Her willingness to share her story despite its personal cost helped other soldiers better understand the weight of their decisions in combat situations. Staff Sergeant Michelle Kim retired from the Army in 2020, ending a career that had been defined by both extraordinary skill and profound tragedy. She left military service as a different person than she had been. No longer the invincible marksman, but perhaps a wiser and more compassionate soldier. The woman who had once held every shooting record at Fort Campbell now works as a counselor for veterans struggling with combat-related PTSD. Her understanding of how a single moment can change everything makes her uniquely qualified to help other soldiers navigate their own traumatic experiences. Michelle never fired another shot after that March day in Afghanistan. But her final contribution to the military, helping other soldiers cope with the moral complexities of combat, may have been more valuable than all the perfect shots that had made her legendary. The best marksmen in the Army had learned that sometimes the most important targets are the ones you choose not to engage.